We're going to watch it here.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming tonight. Hope everyone is cool. I got to move this away. Generally, I have to nearly eat the foam, but tonight it's working very well, so we'll have to be a little cautious that we don't have it too close. But I would like to call to order the Whittingham Homeowners Association Open Workshop Meeting for Monday, July 15th, 2024. Would everyone please rise for a pledge of Okay, may I have okay, we all right? So far, so good. Okay, Matt, can I have a roll call, please? It's too high on you?
Is it better now? Okay. Tough crowd. All right, roll call. Tom Clark? Jay Ressler? Bob Brown? Kathy Dodano? Surjeet? Karen Schoenberg? Joe Antonazio is absent tonight. And Kristen?
Here.
And Susie?
Here.
And me, Matt Lubis.
Okay, can we have a management report, please?
It's too loud? I'll stand back. Good evening, everybody. This is probably the last time I'm going to bring this topic up, but I want to thank everybody. The auto pays, we've signed up about 756 residents, which is pretty great. Anyone who still needs to sign up or is interested, it's not mandatory. Just send me an email, contact me. I've been personally sitting down and helping a lot of people in the office get it set up. That's the last time I'm going to advertise it because I'm tired. Come see me after the meeting and we'll talk. And it's no secret, we've had some irrigation issues this year. We had the well over at the town center here was, we were having some issues with it. We had to do some major replacements of some parts in there, but happily it was fixed on July 9th and Mother Nature helped us with some rain finally. So hopefully things are turning around. We had some roof evaluations done in Whittingham by the engineering firm FWH. They've been doing them over the years. They did those on July 3rd, and probably sometime next week we'll get a full report from them with specifications and everything, and they're going to tell us what roofs need to be done as soon as possible. So stay tuned for that. We keep talking about the reserve study. It is approved with KipCon Engineering. We got word today they probably will not be out here until sometime in mid-August to start all the on-site evaluations. So they're very backed up with some of the new legislation that's changed in New Jersey. These engineering firms that are really good are really busy. So we're in line. So hopefully we can get it a little sooner than later. And if you guys have not come to the office or heard a nice voice when you call the office, we have a new administrative assistant. Her name is Brittany Hatcher. She took Noelle's place and she is fantastic. So hope you guys like her because we certainly do. Now we're going to turn it over to Kristen.
Okay. So for my report, this Wednesday, July 17th, we have Bob Scott's Game Show Experience at 6:30 in the ballroom. Tickets are $15 each. On Sunday, July 21st, at 3 p.m., we have the Mid-Atlantic Men, which will be accompanied by a live band. You can visit their website at midatlanticmen.com. Tickets are still available. They're $25 each. We have on July 23rd, our Yankees versus Mets game bus trip at the Yankee Stadium. We have 11 seats left for that, so you can purchase your tickets with the concierge. On July 31st, we have a movie, 7 p.m. in the ballroom. The name of the movie is Living. That's free of charge. You just show up. The GW Olympics are scheduled for Monday, July 29th through Saturday, August 3rd. Please sign up by Monday, July 22nd, and you could see the flyer with all the details. And lastly, we have a bus trip to New York City Theater District on Wednesday, August 21st. I did have to cancel July 17th because we did not have enough participation. So I ask that you please purchase tickets by Friday, August 9th, so that we can make a decision whether to let it go or not. That's it.
And, to just back up a little bit on that, on the management report, have you got anything you could report in regards to the complaints we've been getting about some of the conditions of some of the lawns? I think many of them were along Rutland. Um, Has our sprinkler company been made aware of the problem? Some of these heads are not working. Could you give us a little information on what's going on with that?
This works. Yeah, it works. No screeching. Yeah, we've been giving them pretty much work orders on a daily basis for all the irrigation issues. They've been coming out. We've been getting some videos of things working. We still have a few more to get settled with them. Overall, as far as management is concerned, we're really not that happy with them right now. But we want to get through this season and see what happens. But there are a lot of issues, and we're trying to resolve them as quick as we can for people. They're literally here like every day looking at something.
Right, thank you. Anyone have anything to add to that? Okay. Let's go on to the review of the minutes, item 6. Just make sure you review the minutes, so we'll vote on those for next week. And those who are not in attendance, of course, will not be voting on it. Let's go on to item 7, new business. We're going to be giving 2 resolutions of appreciation to 2 clubs. One will be the GW Friends, and the other is the GW Civic Club. They will be here next week. We will present them with resolutions of appreciation. We have the insurance resolution. Kathy, have you got anything you can add on to this?
This is an item that we have, or that has been raised by some of our residents with regard to the $100,000 deductible. We are just getting from our attorney the okay to go ahead and include it as an amendment in our bylaws so that we have nothing, none of our residents have anything to worry about. That will be done in our next meeting, approved by the board, and then added to our bylaws. That's it.
Thank you for the update. Does anyone else have anything to add to that? Well, hold on, we'll take Barbara later. Anyone on the board have anything to add to that? Okay. Barbara, we'll take you under the forum when we have the open forum. We'll answer your questions at that point. All right, let's move on to the financial update. Kathy, we're back to you. You have an audit update and financial reports.
Okay, audit update. I have spoken with the auditor. He is on track. We are hoping to have all of the audits through 2022, 2023 done by September. I think that's what I've been reporting. There have been no major questions, minor, just questions about certain items, all resolved, all taken care of. We have nothing else that we can report on that other than hopefully we will be completed by September. I think Greenbrier has already been completed, but they're much smaller, much easier. Moving on to financial reports. The last month, I had reported that we were receiving May financials. We got them 2 days after the meeting. I have looked those financials over. We are in very good position for now, but I just want to report in the month of May, because we were transitioning from our system, the AppFolio system, to the First Service system called GenArc, that in fact, they held off paying some of the invoices. So May was a little bit lower, which is causing very favorable results for the month. So I'm going to hold off on giving numbers until we receive June. The June financials have, First Service has confirmed to me that they will be put up on the portal. So I am hoping that at least our homeowners will be able to then get the information, and if they have any questions, they can bring it to a meeting. So that's where we are.
Kathy, thank you for the report. Now let's move on to old business, item number 9. We have the women's locker room mats. All right, well, I'm gonna, Jay, why don't you, I think you were handling this issue, so why don't you give a report on it?
Actually, I was just in the women's locker room. We have several new mats that are put down there, which should improve the problem with slipping. We put it as far as they can go. Some people were asking about putting it next to the showers, but you can't cover up the drain that's there. I just asked if there are different mats that we can put. So if anybody who uses the mats has any opinions, let us know. And if it works out, then we'll put it in the men's locker room also. Okay.
Okay, well, yeah, well, let's move on to the next item. We have parking committee report. Jay, you've been handling that. You've been heading up that subcommittee, so can you give us
We
a
had
report on
several
that?
meetings of the parking committee. We drew up a set of rules. We'll be sending it out, so you'll see it for the next meeting, and you can give comments on that. We try to make things a lot easier for people, not as strict as it was, and we do have some additions. So you'll get copies of that and let us know what your opinion for the next meeting.
Well, which is Whittingham or for Greenbrier
Right now, we
as
can only
well.
do it for Whittingham, but we would try to work with Greenbrier and,
So they
see
have
if
not
could do-
approved this yet? The Greenbrier board, have they approved
no,
this?
we haven't showed it to them.
Okay,
We were just doing it ourselves.
okay. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so, again, we will, we will make sure, okay. no,
I need to make a
Suji,
comment.
yeah.
I am on that committee as well. Once you read these rules, they're not only applicable to Whittingham, they're also applicable to BOA. And some of the rules are specifically, the roundabouts, things like that we have. They're all in Greenbrier. So technically, they apply to the whole community. So please read them carefully. They're designed, we've gone over many, many times, revised them over and over again. They're for education, for your safety. They're not designed to punish anybody. We are all friends, all neighbors. We got to look out for each other. There are some things in the rules which were confusing. Remember, you had this blitz of tickets. We want to avoid these kind of things in the future. So my understanding of all of these rules is, they are in line with the general practices that you observe in your normal life anyway. Parking, not blocking the fire hydrants, things like that. So, in my opinion, they're very beneficial. So I hope you folks will really read them and give your comments.
Okay,
I-
go ahead, Karen, you have something to say?
Yeah. If Greenbrier's board has not approved these, then I don't think that we can say any of these rules are applicable to the roads in Greenbrier. I assume they will look at this and agree with everything, but we don't speak for the roads in Greenbrier. Just wanted to make my view clear.
Karen, your point is well taken. If Greenbrier objects, obviously, then we will separate this
Yeah,
into
Yeah.
two
I mean,
sections.
the committee should also submit this report into the Greenbrier, send it to the president, Mark Searts, and let him distribute it to his board members, and they'll review it and
Sure.
ask for comment.
Makes sense.
All right, and we'll make sure that we send out before the next meeting, the actual rules that the committee has come up with for your review, so that for next week's meeting, you'll be able to have an opportunity to give comment if you want to. You'll also have an opportunity to review it so you know what the board has in front of it. All right, we'll move on to the next item, which is the merger update. Basically, where we are with that is we have a Greenbrier attorney talking to a Woolwer attorney and trying to come up with the correct procedure for the voting process, and making sure we have everything understood of what means to be a quorum and the majority of votes that are needed. Once both attorneys are in agreement with that, we'll present that information to you. So we're in an ongoing process with that at the moment. Any comment on that from anybody? All right. Let's move on to Town Center Committee updates. Jay, you have something on that?
I wasn't at the last meeting.
No. Was there something that, that you had for an update on, Matt? I remember seeing an email somewhere on that line.
Yeah, Jay, you sent us an email with some updates you wanted to talk about tonight, late this afternoon, so we added it on.
Issues that the committee, the Town Center Committee was concerned about were the flyer racks. They would like to have clear plastic racks along the walls to take the place of the roundup. So in the area back here where we have some flyers, they would like the plastic holders there and possibly along the wall and back where they used to be. So this is actually something for the board to discuss. Are we going to discuss this now or?
Put on your microphone, Karen.
I don't know if the board is ready. If they're ready to discuss this individually for each of the items that they requested, then I guess,
That's what we're supposed to do.
okay. My objection to that is that a year ago, before this new committee went, the Town Center Committee was made up of only one person this year, who is the chairperson, nobody else from last year's committee was on there. Last year, we were asked by the committee to do the whole thing with the roundabout. We went, we bought it, we made it, we did everything. So I have to tell you that I object to the fact that if we just spent money a year ago to do one thing, that just because this new committee wants something else, I don't think we should be doing that. That's my view.
Can anyone speak to the fact of why this recommendation was made? What's currently not working with this roundabout?
I think it was the board that discussed the round the last time, not the committee that didn't ask for the.
Discussed the roundabout with last year's committee, and at their request, it was a board decision. We spent the money to order it, put it out, then we moved it from where in the lobby it was because they wanted it closer somewhere else. But we actually went and spent that money. And I'm just saying, why can't we live with this for a while before? Because if a committee makes changes every year, we're just never going to stop spending money.
Let me just put some perspective on this. I understand that what is being requested is to remove the roundabout and bring it upstairs in front of the offices so that they can use it, still hold on to it, but use it for forms that we as homeowners need for any particular person, architectural modification forms or whatever else they would need. The other part of that, there are two pieces as I understand it. They want to replace the units that are in the back, correct, Jay? They want to replace the units that are in the back with a clear front.
Yes.
So I think that's the only expense that we're referring to.
If we're keeping the flyers where they are, yes.
Well, the
If
flyers,
you're going to keep the rounder,
do we need the rounder if you now have all your leaflets, your flyers, your presentation items, all against the wall in the back?
oh, if we do it against the wall in the back, the way it used to
Correct.
be before the fire, then yes, you probably don't need the rounder.
We don't need the roundup.
You-
So,
They were talking about putting the rounder upstairs for management application forms,
right,
things like
right.
that.
So I think there's a lot, I think we have a little bit of confusion as to exactly what is needed. But if it is that I understand it correctly, the rounder would be taken out of the main lobby, brought upstairs, and the only change would be to where the pamphlets,
Back
leafs,
over here, this,
right,
right
the
over here.
flyers are right here in the back, and that they would be replaced with the clear front, so
Yes.
that when you put it in, you could actually see the whole flyer. So I think that is the only expense we're referring to.
well, if you're going to put flyers along the back wall, that would also be with the clear plastic
Yes.
holders.
So that's the only expense. I don't know what that expense is. I think we need to know what it would cost us. Let's get a proposal for that. And then at that point, if there's any question about whether or not that rounder is okay, if we just bring it upstairs and no longer have it in the hallway, in the main lobby, then we can do that. Okay.
So, I get, Susie, it's gonna come,
Sorry,
it's gonna come back to you.
Okay, I'm not.
Can you, work with that information you just got tonight and see if you can get an estimate on what a cost would be to put
Right.
a
and
rack system up along the
but
wall that's
We're
clear with
ignoring my
plexiglass?
point, which was, there's no reason to have a rounder up by the management office. It was there, it was bought at the request of this committee. And I do not think it is right, because otherwise, every other committee is going to think that they can spend money one year, and if they don't like it, they can change it, and they can spend it next year. And I object to that.
Okay, your point is well taken, Karen. We're still gonna, at the same time, look at, an estimate of what something like that would cost. Okay. All right, so
That
we're
was-
gonna move on.
Do you want to
What
go over the rest of these items that are here?
do you have?
There were several things that came up.
All right, well, you're on the committee. What do you want to report?
The next
on?
thing was vending machines, which we had discussed that before, and we decided that the vending machines were not something to do because didn't want food around, eating around the place. Then,
Board was not in favor of that is because I have noticed that when I go into the ballroom or any other room, I know there's nobody allowed in those rooms to eat food. They're eating there all the time. And if we provide now another way for them to get food and come in, and no matter what you say or do, I'm sorry, but they're doing that. They're making a mess, and we have to pay people to clean up after the people. So plus, I don't see why we're still looking for a restaurant, why we should get a vending machine. They cost money. You have to stop,
All right,
get
well,
a contract.
We've had some discussion. We've decided to put all that on hold while
Oh.
we're in the process of looking for a new restaurant. All right,
Next
so-
thing was canvas prints for the multipurpose room. We had decided that is something to do, I think. But did we talk about having somebody donate them rather than us buying them?
So we had a discussion about this item. The entire clubhouse has artwork from our own homeowners. I think it is fantastic. I think it is a representation of our community. So I suggested that we do the same for the multipurpose room. And if anyone would like to volunteer their artwork, we would love to have it on display. I think that is a remarkable idea. It shows who we are as a community, how talented our people are. I mean, I'm just amazed at the talent in this community. So I think that if anyone
Two more
wants to
things.
offer, donate their artwork, we certainly would appreciate it.
Okay. And I think we spoke about that, and it would probably, hopefully, when a new operator comes in for the restaurant, that'll work its way. Also, the arts will work its way into the new restaurant as well.
Right, two other items. New thing, there was a request for a grill. We already have a grill, and some of the clubs want to use the grill, and they wanted to know what our policy would be to let them use the grill for their own picnics that they would have out back.
Who used the grill before? Just the restaurant here? Is that it?
The restaurant, from what I understand, the restaurant had their own grill. We have a grill.
Okay,
Well,
and who now
And that's been in
uses,
storage for now. So they
Okay,
want to
it's-
use that grill for their picnics outside.
okay, well, what happens if somebody gets hurt, burned, it falls over, they get into an accident? I'm only concerned for our insurance. So if we could work something out where they would sign some sort of a
Yeah,
release.
They would be
then
responsible, and
possi-
whatever the
yeah,
insurance company asks us to do, we would take care of
Well,
that.
Let's just find out whether they're willing to do that first. Because just to put out a grill can be very dangerous and you can get burnt very severely.
Jay, is this a propane grill portable?
Excuse me?
What kind of grill is this?
I don't know.
And how is this, what's the source of the fuel? Oh, it's all charcoal?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, can I just make one comment? I mean, if you're looking at a grill that's similar to the hundred you can find in Thompson's Park on any day when you walk through there, how the public uses a grill, and it's taken care of, you bring your own charcoal, you put it together, you cook whatever you want, you use it. If they're looking for something similar along that line, I mean, if they can do it in a public park, I don't see no reason why they can't do it here.
Yeah, no, for that I agree. I mean, as long as, they responsibly extinguishing everything before they leave, hopefully clean it up, that's fine.
There was a request for the grill. I don't know. I haven't seen the grill. So they wanted to know our position on letting them use it. Pickleball was one, yes.
I think what happened was we had a request from one of the clubs to use the grill. We're going to talk about it a little bit more because there are some liability issues. I think we just need to kind of walk through them in our minds, make sure, remember, anyone that walks up to a grill who is not a cook and has never used a grill before could cause a problem. I don't think we even want to consider that, but we may put limitations on it. If someone volunteers and they want to sign a release, perhaps saying, I can cook on it, I'm not going to hold you liable for any issue or any concern, we may be able to do that. I think we need to discuss that a little bit more. Okay.
All right, what else you got, Jay?
And the last thing was, again, a request from some clubs to use the copier that we have, since we're paying for the copier and it's not being used. they want to be able to get use of it.
Well, there's a cost per
Okay.
page. Every time you print, it counts
Yes.
the pages and you pay. for
That's
the other
correct.
pages.
So there is certainly an expense associated with every copy that is made. That is the way our contracts are written. So we pay a lease fee and then we also pay a usage fee, unfortunately. So every copy that is made, if a club comes in and makes 100 copies, the expense would fall on all our homeowners. So I don't think anyone wants that. Do we at that point want to count the copies and then bill out the club? I don't know if we want that either. So again, this is an item that we need to discuss further. I think we're going to need to
Whatever-
take that to executive session.
Probably the way it should probably work is whatever the cost is, it's just a pass along. That's all. Yeah. Whatever the cost is for our use of the machine, we just pass it along. That's it. We're not making no money on this. It's just a pass along. Okay. Any more comment? That's
That's all
it?
they want.
All right, very good. Jacob, what's your mic? Okay. Let's go to the open forum, please. Could you please come up to the microphone, give your name and your address? Make sure that's working. No, it's got to be turned on. There's a switch on the side.
Marcia Forrest, 11 Whitehall. I agree 100% with Karen. The rounder is a very convenient opportunity for people who are used to pulling flyers for the different clubs. And I don't think, especially since we just paid for this and we lifted it or raised it up so people didn't have to be midgets to get to the bottom rung. As far as bringing it upstairs for management for their forms, why can't the concierge keep sets of forms that residents need for whatever they need and leave it the way it is and was intended to be? Next question. Can you give us an update on the restaurant situation?
Yes, we can. The committee is going to actually be meeting tomorrow for the first time. And we're going to be setting up how we're going to begin in questions of what we're looking for out of the interested operators. So we'll be beginning that process probably the week after. And after we have quite a few people who have expressed interest. So it's going to be taking a little bit longer than we had expected, but we will get through that process. And once we're through that, the idea is then to award a lease to the new operator, and they will come in.
Very encouraging.
Maria DeLucia, 85A Winthrop. I am on the Town Center Committee, and I'd like to further expound on the reason that we wish to change the rounder situation. And it's not just the rounder, it is those ugly wire baskets that are outside the restaurant that you can't even see what's in them. They're not useful, they're not functional, they're just, so our purpose was to replace those with clear, Lucite files where the papers could be put in like they used to be before COVID and before the fire and the renovation and everything else down that hallway by the pool, where you could see them very clearly. You knew what was in every file. You didn't have to stand on your head. You didn't have to pull out everything to see them. So the concern we had, and with the rounders, is they fall over. You can't read clearly what's in them. It's sloppy looking in the lobby. And so we would like it to be neater. And so we didn't want to get rid of the money to throw away the money that the previous committee had spent on the rounder. We thought outside management office would be a very useful place to put it and put management forms so that people could go up there and get them. That was our solution, that was our thought, and that was the reason behind our suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
The first,
Name and
Lolly
address.
Reich, 3 Wellfleet. Can you clarify the dates of all of our meetings? Is it going to be on the same night? On a Monday night or?
Well, okay, so we have two meetings. We do a workshop
Yes.
meeting, and they're generally on the, what's that, the third Monday, and then we're gonna have the action meeting, which always follows the week after on the Thursday.
So it's going to be Monday and Thursday?
On the other, we've been following that now for
Yeah,
quite some
okay.
time.
Okay, and I'm very happy that we are considering a new restaurant, but we are without one now, and I know it's only a couple of weeks, but a lot of people who use it feel that the sooner the better. As far as the barbecue goes, some of these people may want to do barbecuing on a weekend or whatever. So before we invest in one, I think we should get finished with our interviews. So there's nobody, we didn't start on any kind of like closing in on a list or anything. I hate to put you on a spot, but there's a lot of people.
We have a list of people who have expressed interest to us. As I said, tomorrow, the committee's getting to put the ground rules together for and the questions we're going to be asking the
Okay,
operators, and then we will basically make a decision based on who we're going to select after the interviews.
do you think it'll be this month, July, or are we gonna go into?
I don't want to give myself a time frame here, but we're going to
Okay.
try to do it as soon as
I
possible.
just have to say, we were in there all last week. I'm in there every day. And people were coming in from the pool. You know, they are people that want to pick up lunch, that want to pick up whatever they want to pick up. And I think it's very important that we have something before the end of the summer.
Well, here's something I'll throw to you. Here's a question, because it's been suggested that perhaps until a new operator comes in, we should be looking at food trucks out there if somebody's interested in coming in.
We had food trucks.
So we had that before,
Yeah, we did.
and you didn't like it.
No, I loved it because it was COVID time and we had it then. But the people are not coming from the pool to walk into the parking lot.
Mhm.
So, okay,
All right,
thank you very much.
okay, well, thank you. Anyone else behind the curtain? Yes, okay.
Somebody else behind me.
All right, very good.
Hi, Wayne Baruch, 43 Winton's Way. The showers in the ladies' locker room by the drains, are they wet and slippery? Okay, there are perforated mats that can be bought. Back about 2 years ago, when Miriam and Jamie were still here, I offered to tell them that I would volunteer to help them find the right mats for slippery areas around the community. It's not difficult, Jay, and there are perforated mats that are available that would drain just fine in those wet areas. So that's a possible solution for that.
Let me
Yeah.
just add something to that. I think that that is what we have, the perforated mats. We just installed in the
Super.
ladies' locker room. I think there are 5 of them. I think there were 5 of them kind of leading from one to the other
Great.
until you get into the shower area.
Yeah,
I
there-
don't
Take a
know,
look, if you would, go back there and take a look at the mat that's there now and see if you think it could be used. another
Well,
way.
I don't go into the ladies' locker room.
You have the same mat, when you first come out of the pool, before you
Okay.
go into the locker room. It's
I'll
the
take a
same
look.
mat.
I'll take a look. There are parking. There are 3 retired police officers who live in the community. Have you consulted them before drafting these parking policies? Why? For their professional advice. They represent, I'm going to say, 60-plus years of professional experience. and they might have valid opinions. They're police officers. Doesn't matter. They've worked in New Jersey.
All right, well.
Please think about
The committee
seeking-
hasn't, but your point is
seeking out
taken,
the-
okay, that
the advice of at
perhaps.
least 3 police
yes.
officers,
All right.
retired police officers. Okay. In the consolidation documents, I drafted a series of 4 questions that I passed along to Mark Serks and the rest of my board and demanded that we get answers to those 4 questions. You all have copies of that email. So those answers hopefully will be coming from our attorney, and we'll be able to then coordinate with you at that point. And I hope that we'll get a chance to see the parking policies that you're drafting and see what we want to do on the Greenbrier side.
I'd like to respond on both those issues. I just want to mention the parking regulations that we looked at were existing regulations. We looked at them. We, with common sense, try to apply more, I guess, accommodating principles, if I could put it that way. We don't want to certainly just write violations for no reason. So we try to gear them a little bit more, and I'll say it by using some common sense. You know, if a resident complains, if a homeowner complains, then, you know, we can issue a ticket. They should call security. But these are not final. These are suggestions that we will present to Greenbrier and let them weigh in on it. And then at that point, we can collectively
I'm
bring
not-
those together.
I'm not arguing or suggesting that anybody on the committee is a, forgive the word, dummy. I'm just simply saying, maybe you'd learn something.
Right.
I don't know.
Yep.
From any of these 3 police officers who might have an insight that we don't.
I don't see why we wouldn't want them to take a look or to be included or in the final hour.
Yep.
When everything has been reviewed and looked at.
Well,
In terms of the merger, I'm sorry, do you want to? In terms of the merger, we have come into sort of some conflict because Greenbrier has one set of documents, and this is what the merger would fix. WOA has another set of documents. So there are voting requirements on the Greenbrier side that conflict with the voting requirements on the WOA side. So what we are, and condo 1 and condo 2. So currently what we are doing is speaking to our attorney.
Right.
And as Tom indicated, our attorney has reached out to Greenbrier's attorney. Again, something else that wouldn't be necessary if we consolidated. But until they can get together and resolve these conflicts, we cannot move forward. But we're hoping, we're pushing, we've been pushing to try to get this resolved quickly.
But besides the differences in the bylaws of the 2 HOAs, there are these 4 questions that came up basically from Radburn statutes, from our bylaws. And I wanted to make sure, and I told Mark that we need answers to these 4 questions. Again, you've seen them.
Question was about the 10%.
That's one of them.
Okay, the 10% rejection ballot can only be used if you are changing bylaws only. That's the Radburn law. If there, and there, again, there's this question about exactly what we need to change. Our attorneys are working on it. If we discover that we also need to change the declarations, then we cannot use the rejection ballot.
And part of my question went to, and this is probably getting too deep into the weeds, that we ought to save for a closed meeting of the consolidation topic.
All right, thank you. Next speaker. Is there anybody behind you? Okay.
Barbara Rackbuck, 10C Rutland. I have a question on the insurance issue. According to the material that I have from the last amendment to the bylaws, which goes by the 10% rule, I'm concerned whether or not you have advised Greenbrier of their responsibility on the $100,000 deductible. Because as I understood from the meeting that we had with our insurance person, our manager, and the board, it was said that if anything occurred in common areas or the clubhouse, that deductible would be shared by 1,600 plus homes. That anything that occurred in Whittingham would be proportioned in terms of how many houses were affected. Okay, so if we're going to amend this bylaw, and it has to go by 10%, a 10% rejection vote, when are we going to vote?
All the information, we have a new lawyer, you know that, Barbara. And he is now looking at it very, very carefully because there's some issues that he is discussing or is trying to discuss with Greenbrier's attorney, but he hasn't been able, they haven't called him back. So it's going to be done, but now we have to do it exactly the way this lawyer says it has to be
Agreed.
done.
Agreed, I agree.
We are working on it, believe me.
Okay, I don't doubt that you're working on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
My concern is, should we have a problem between now and when this ballot is gotten out to the public and we have this rejection vote? If something happens then, where are we standing? I don't know that my insurer is going to necessarily say, oh, yeah, sure. We'll plop in whatever you need because, you wanted to do this. It's a good thing to do. It will protect your HOA.
We had,
But we have no legal reason to do it at this point.
well, I'm not saying it can't happen. What I'm saying to you, Barbara, is that everybody was told to reach out to their own insurance company and get their policy changed so that under that particular section there, it's 100,000. If that was done by your insurance company, I assume it's not a problem for you. I know what you're saying, but that's all I can say at this point.
I think there has to be something legally done by the HOA in order to ensure that my insurance company will be willing to put out extra money. Okay?
Yes.
That's number one. And I need to know that Greenbrier knows their responsibility also. That's the other side of it. We've been talking merger 5 years?
It's more like 15 years.
Well, I'm talking about actual involvement with lawyers back and forth. And now we've changed lawyers, so we maybe don't start at step one, but we're no further and we still have disagreements between the two boards. Somewhere along the line, something has to be moved by somebody, and lawyers can't keep making money on us without producing something.
Yeah,
So
but Barbara, I think you're correct in what you're saying. I mean, we still need to formally adopt this resolution. But in the meantime, homeowners were advised to take a rider on your policy that would cover that additional loss, a loss assessment.
Mhm.
So if you have it on your policy, and it's relatively cheap, I think mine only cost me like $15 more a month to cover me up to $50,000. If something like that happened, it would be covered. You wouldn't have to argue with your insurance company. It's automatically covered
Oh,
under
I'm not
loss
so sure
assessment.
that that's true, but go ahead.
I've spoken to quite a few insurance companies during that whole process, and that's what I'm telling you.
Okay, let's just hope we don't have a problem. All right. As far as irrigation, my word to the management company is, if someone comes in and inspects the irrigation system in Whittingham in April or May and has checked all of the heads and they're all working and everything is fine, and then all of a sudden we find that we have a problem with the well and we put out a lot of money for the well, and all I keep hearing when I call and say, building 61, building 31, building 7, building 5, all of the even numbers on Rutland have not been watered. I keep getting told, well, there's a work order in place. No, it's time for the company to be told, get it done. or you're out. It's time. There's still places.
Barbara, I just want to say that we now had a second well
I
that
know,
had to be
I
replaced.
understand that,
So
but
it's
that well,
2 wells.
that well has nothing to do with Whittingham. That
Okay,
well is
has
in
to
the
do with-
clubhouse.
Yes.
And I'm tired, even more tired of looking around the room. There are less than 50 people here. Yes, it's a hot day. It's a slow day. Lots of people are on Zoom. I think Zoom is our downfall because people that go on Zoom don't hear the conversations in the room. They don't hear the cross conversations. Sometimes the speakers work, sometimes they don't work, but they're not here to show you their support or disapproval, either way. And we need to make people come out. There are 413 homes in Whittingham. I can't count 20 people that I know from Whittingham here. And the total responsibility of WOA outside of the amenities and the clubhouse is Whittingham. We gave up that right in 1987 to not self-govern, but to have WOA take care of everything from our money right on down. And I hate to say that we are in deep trouble right now. People have got to get off their duffs and start coming to meetings. Seriously. Thank you. I know you're working hard, but we've got to see some progress.
All righty. Thank you, Barbara. Next speaker, please. Is there anyone behind you?
One person.
One person. Okay, thank you.
Hi. Ruth Marcus, 20 Trent. Because there is a big change of management, I think many of the rules and regs that we were used to, or the people in the office knew how to handle things. I suggest that because there are problems with the new management knowing what some of our rules and regs are and how to carry them out. For instance, I asked for a barcode for my daughter. She's a regular visitor and on the list. And I had got the form, filled it out, and they didn't know. They're looking up, trying to figure out what to do next. So then they told me, okay, make out the check for $55 and bring it to the security. And security will be able to put the barcode on. I bring it to security. Security says, we don't have barcodes. It's got to go back to the office. So I think they could use a little help in deciphering some of these rules and regs. And if you each maybe would go take a day, a week, or whatever it is, go in and look at how they're written and how easy they are to look up and be able to make a different notebook of how to help them help us. I'm still waiting for the barcode. Just one other thing. If you were going to change these parking things, I have no idea why it's such a big problem or whatever. However, I am appalled that you wouldn't have brought that to Greenbrier as well. If you want them, you want us to agree with them, why not bring it to them before you even bring it up to us? I don't understand it.
Hi, my name is Paul Bressalier, and I'd like to talk about 13 Westminster Drive. I'd like to talk about the Rounder situation. I'm a past president of the Senior Social Club. I've been on the board. I've been program chairman for many years. I'm also on the board of the Residents Civic Club. Residents Civic Club just had a clubs and activities night where they invited about 40 clubs to set up tables to promote all of the work that they do. The clubs play a major role in this community. It's what distinguishes us from most of the other communities here. And they contribute a lot to the quality of life in this place. And in order to do this, each club, of course, promotes its own activities. The Senior Social Club, for example, we have trips, we have shows, we have speakers, and so on. And in order to do all of this and hire quality performers and food and trips and buses, we need a lot of attendance. We need a lot of people to come to our events. Just as WOA does, they just had to cancel a bus because they didn't have enough people. Same thing applies to the clubs here. It does, not having enough people does affect the quality of the offering. So it's very important that we are able to promote our events. And the way we do that is by having adequate place for our flyers. That's very important to us that we are able to do that. And if you go to other communities, you'll see that their flyers are in the most prominent place that there is, like near the entrance there, their concierge and so on. If you go to the senior center, all you see, as soon as you walk in, you see their flyers, brochures, and everything. They don't put it in the back of the place. Before we had the rounder here, we had those wire cages, wire baskets, I should say, which you were talking about before, which are completely inadequate. And it was inadequate in terms of appearance, location, and the quantity of spots or slots that where we were able to put flyers completely inadequate. So we campaigned for the rounder here. We were successful. We did meet with Jamie Cullen and others, and Monica when she was here. And we did try, and Kristen was aware of this, we tried very hard to get an adequate space, adequate facility so we could promote all of the activities that we do here, and it's for the community. So we were successful in getting the rounder. And so what I'm saying is we need that ability to promote the events here. Otherwise, the clubs will not get enough people. It affects the quality of what we are able to do. Now, there are more clubs coming online as well. And as I said, the Residence Civic Club, which and I'm on that board, just sent out 40 invitations. Now, some of the other board members of the Civic Club are here in the audience. They can testify to that as well. So all I'm saying is we need to have the rounders or whatever the facility is in a prominent location, and that's what we have right now, in my opinion. To hide the flyers upstairs or in the back is totally inadequate. You have to have enough slots for the clubs. Each club has a different number of activities that they may have at any one time. It takes time to promote shows, for example. So you may overlap. You may have 2 or 3 events. In the case of the Senior Social Club, for example, we have shows, we have speakers, and all happening, within a short 2-3 months. So you want to be able to promote all of that. Okay. Well, I want the flyers in the most prominent spot here. That's the key. It's got to be prominent. So to me, the most prominent spot right now is where it is right now. So when people walk in to the clubhouse, they see the flyers there, and people walk. Otherwise, they're not going to go upstairs for a flyer. They're not going to go to the back of the building to look for a flyer. It has to be in a prominent location. So the rounder seemed to be the best solution. We used to have a large board. That's what you're talking about before, having a large board in the back near the pool and the gym. We used to have that, but we did have more slots there. And then when it was moved to the wire baskets, it was completely inadequate. The clubs were told to use one basket for all of their activities, which was completely impossible to promote what the activities were. And so what I'm saying is we need to have flyers, unless you come up with a better location. To me, having the rounder where it is now by the concierge desk is the best location for it. So I know I'm taking up a lot of your time, but that's,
Okay.
that's my point right now. The clubs, it's what distinguishes us from the other communities.
All right, you know, we appreciate your comments on that, and we do recognize how important the clubs are. We have begun recognizing and giving resolutions of appreciation to the clubs to bring attention to these clubs, as you're saying, rightfully so. They should be getting attention because they do a lot for our community and they make us what we are as a great community. So I appreciate all what you're saying, and your comments in regards to the rounder are well taken, and the committee will take that under consideration.
Right. So you were talking about the providing for the flyers also. That's important too. If you do make your facilities available, I know some of the clubs are using the copying machine in the building now. So
Okay.
if they could, if they're still allowed to do that at a reasonable cost, that would help as well.
All right, all right. Well, thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate it. Anyone else back there? Okay, before I adjourn, do you have anything from Zoom? Nothing from Zoom tonight? Okay, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved by Jay, second by Bob. Okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you all.